Hi, welcome to another Interstellar Prime update video. Today we're going to be covering the dynamic environment system and mainly the building of the asteroid base that I didn't cover in the past couple of videos. And I'm going to end the video today with a solar map and kind of show you the scale of the game and what I intend to do in the full release. Let's get started. So first thing I want to highlight is now the texture is quite different now on all of the asteroids, and I've added some atmospheric effects which is emulating the ice and gas that oozing out of all these asteroids because most of the asteroids are actually made out of ice and a lot of rocks and ice and all that stuff, but it's mostly water ice in the solar system anyway. So that's why I add these textures and just kind of give it a little cool effects there. And now that I've landed, I want to kind of highlight that when you see the sun and standing still, or what I mean is when I stand still and look at the sun, which you'll see here, it actually moves. And what that really is where'd the sun go? Oh, it's actually behind that. There we go. So as you can see here, it kind of moves, but really the sun is not moving, but we're the one who's moving, and in this orbit we're actually traveling thousands and thousands of miles an hour through space, because in space nothing really is ever standing still. Something is always orbiting something, and with this right here it's kind of emulating that a little bit. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and use my controller. Now what I did was I just simply picked up the Xbox controller, and it will automatically give me all of the controls according to what button I need to push. So now you can see that instead of F, I have to press the X button, and now I can actually choose my weapons from the using the controller. So I'm gonna go ahead and load up. And another thing that I've added is the ability to refill the ammo. So right here, I'm going to switch back to mouse and keyboards real quick, and I can actually buy or refill the ammo here from here without having to go back to the mothership. So that's that. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we can do. Before that, let's go ahead and use the 3D printer, and I want to highlight to you. Before we go on, notice that the sun has just disappeared and everything is very, very dark now. So that's something I added to the game just to give it more of a dynamic environment there. So let's go ahead and start by building this pad. This just kind of popped out of nowhere because I haven't added the animation on it yet. So now that I don't have a resource, but with the magic of being developer, I can just use a little cheat shortcut here and give myself unlimited resource. So that's what I did. I just built a turret defense tower. That's kind of self-explanatory what I do. So now the next thing I want to talk about is the service station and the base station, and this is going to be very important later on in the game, because the game is all about colonizing, and it's all about gathering more resource and expanding your territory. So in order to expand your presence and travel farther into the solar system, you need to be able to control and gather more resources and hire a crew to man these stations. So what you can build here, mainly the two things is service station and base station. And as you can see, it takes a lot of minerals to do that. You're going to be mining for a long time to get enough minerals. And once you have it start building, it actually takes several orbital cycles to complete. So, but again, with the magic of being a developer, I kind of sped that time up a little bit. So now it's complete, and then we'll go there in a little bit. And I just want to show you what these can actually go to or upgrade into. Like the service station, you can actually upgrade it to be a communication station, which you will need when you actually are expanding farther So you want to be able to get notification on, hey, we're getting attacked, or hey, we're getting trade routes being disrupted somehow, that kind of thing. You also are able to do drone hangar, which means you can actually build a little bit of an army of drones, and also a repair station, which you can actually repair things. And the base station can be expanded to for more living modules, and a research module, indoor laboratory, and storage facility, which I'll cover in a later video of what all that is. And there's always room for more suggestion if you want to comment below on what would you like to see these buildings expand or upgrade into. I would love to hear your feedback on that. So before we go on any further, let's go ahead and take a look at the map again. And I just kind of want to show you a little bit with the observation drone here. So as you can see here, everything is dark, and this forces the players to use their instruments a little more, like the flashlights or the headlights and the thermal vision and so on. Just make it a little more immersive feeling. And I want to show you that when the sun rises, you'll see that there's an effect that I add there, which I'll cover a little bit later. Let's go ahead and get out and activate the helium extraction. So now that I extracted the helium, now I can actually go and take a look at my crew, see what they're doing. I haven't add anything specific yet on what you can do with them, but later on you'll be able to interact with every single NPC players in the game. So you can actually assign one of these crews, or however many crews that you have living support, to actually man the station. So anyway, let's go ahead and land. And let's take a look at what's in here. So the first building I'm visiting is the expandable habitat. Let's go ahead and see what it's all about. So this is a place where I can actually take off my EVA suit and actually live in a pressurized and with artificial gravity environment that, you know, it's basically live here. And you're gonna have to be customized. Right now it's just an empty building. You actually have to build like the furnitures, like the kitchen, for food, a laboratory, living modules, and all that stuff. So on this second floor right here, you can have it to be anything you want, but what you're gonna need is like the food, kind of like a hydrophobic, or whatever it's called, the plant thing that, I mean, you have to use to grow your plants. So yeah, I mean, this building is fully customizable, and you can actually build upon this building. And let's get out of this building real quick and just kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. So on that rooftop right there, you can actually build on top of that, and then move on to a different, or just kind of build on top of that. Now that the sun has come up right there, I just want to highlight that everything you see is a little bit more red, has a little more red hue to it. And what is that? That's just basically the sun is shining through a Martian atmosphere in the morning. So that's what I added there. If the sun rises on Jupiter, you'll see Jupiter colors, and Saturn and so on. But right now we're on Mars. So depending on how much we could raise through the Kickstarter campaign, that's going to determine how detailed it is, or this game, how much content we can put in within the time frame that we are shooting for. And here I am at the service station. The service station is basically where I can actually come and save the game, and it's just really a small version of the expandable habitat. But this is where you can actually assign your crew to station here for a period of a time, but they will complain if you leave them there for too long by themselves. So you don't want to be doing that to your crew. But this is where you can actually upgrade the service station and enter the computer and enter to different modes. and do upgrades, but haven't added that yet. But that's, you kind of get the idea. So that's what I've added as far as buildings. And you can see here, you can actually build a little your mini little asteroid base and asteroid colony, and you can build as many as you can gather resource to. So anyway, and there are more building functions which I'll leave for you guys to discover yourself when the game releases, what you all can do. This is just kind of introduction. And like I mentioned before in the beginning of the video, I'm going to leave this video with a solar map. So I'm going to go ahead and pack up and go back to the main ship, the Serendipity. It's the main ship. I'm going to go ahead and expand my radar in the bottom left corner where it is, right there. And I'm going to dock and then basically go to the captain's bridge and get into the transfer mode and the solar map. All right, let's dock. Here we are. And again, I'm going to put more of a detailed animations here, so it's not just pop in and out. But right now, I'm just trying to kind of get the core aspects of the game, and I'll nail down the little small details on transition between different modes and stuff like that later. Alright, as I mentioned before in previous game, you can go to any of these rooms and interact, and you know, it's fully functioning thing. So anyway, let's go ahead and save the game real quick. And this is how you do it. Just go in and save the game, save in the bed. So every time you wake up, all your game is still there. Alright, back to the bridge. And let's go ahead and take a look at the solar map. Here we go. Here we are at the solar map. So we're orbiting Mars at like thousands of miles an hour. And we have on the right hand corner, top corner, fusion propellant. In the demo, you're only limited to one fusion propellant. And what is fusion propellant? In the game, that's how you travel between planets. So what we do have here is what's called an advanced Hohmann transfer. So if you know anything about Hohmann transfer, it's a maneuver methodology for using rocket science to transfer your rocket between one orbit to another. So anyway, advanced transfer, it's just kind of like a Hohmann transfer on steroid. Instead of taking months, we're going to use days instead, but using a lot of energy, which is fusion propellant. And as you can see here, to travel from Mars orbit to Venus orbit in the game, it requires 1.3 fusion propellant, which you only have one. So when you try to do that, it says nope, you can't go. So I'm not going to go there. So anyway, the reason why I did that is simply because I haven't create the rest of the planets yet. So if I raise enough funds from Kickstarter, I'll be able to populate those. And then the plan is to be able to just visit just about any moons in the solar system, like Saturn. Saturn has many moons, same with Jupiter. So total, there's more than 200 solar system in the hold on, I'm gonna go ahead and abort the travel. There we go. And I'm gonna talk a little more before I go on and set some destination. Anyway, like I mentioned before, there are hundreds and hundreds of moons in the solar system alone, and in the game you can actually move to or transfer to the asteroid belt, and that's where a lot of the gameplay is going to take place in the full release, because you have practically unlimited amount of resources that you can actually gather, but you know, it's pretty hostile during that. That's where the main enemy, which I'll reveal later what they are, kind of resides. So let's go ahead and take a look at that's not what I want. That's back at Mars. Anyway, Saturn, let's take a look. So Saturn has two really big moon. Actually, let's look at Saturn. It's got plenty of moons, so you can actually move, or you can actually, how do I say, visit any of the Saturn's moon and capture resources and all that stuff. But in order to get there, it takes a lot of resource. So you have to do a lot of upgrade to your ship and to your crew, and make sure that you have a really nice system in place before you get that far to Saturn and Jupiter. So anyway, and it's going to take quite a bit of long time to get there. That's why you want to make sure that you have all you need in order to get there. But the beginning of the game, you're going to be traveling in between the inner solar system, which is Venus, Mercury, and Earth, and you're going to be doing a lot of missions there. Anyway, I'll reveal later on in a different video of what other planets has to offer and what other things are there for you to explore. Anyway, what you can do in the demo is you can travel in between Remnant City and different sectors of the Martian orbit, and there are some things that you can do there. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and set the course and then exit the navigational map, and then kind of show you how we travel around, travel between planets. In the game, we don't have warp drives, so in order for you to travel, we use, like I mentioned, advanced Hohmann's transfer. And what this is basically kind of emulating that in order for you to travel without the magic of warp drive, you have to actually align your crafts in a very precise, how do I say, precision of an orbit, and then fire the exact right amount of thrust, if you may, and apply the correct force in order for you to align your spacecraft to the trajectory that's going to allow you to do a Hohmann transfer. So of course we don't really have that in reality. So in the game we kind of just call it the advanced Hohmann transfer, and we just pretty much saying that we are using the fusion propellant, just another way of saying using a whole lot of energy in order to transfer. But in order to do that, to use a Hohmann transfer, you're going to be exposing your fusion core. So for that, you're going to have to fight off the enemies as you try to travel. So that's kind of make traveling a little bit of a big deal. So it's not just a matter of, oh, I'm going to warp here and there. So when you actually travel, you're going to be encountering resistance. So that's what this is all about. And I'm just pretty much making it pretty easy for myself right now, and I'm just gonna go ahead and sit here and fire my weapons until the enemy dies. And then anyway, I'm not gonna do that today. Basically, you kind of get the idea. In order to transfer to a different orbit, you have to fly to this destination and actually activate the Hohmann's transfer sequence, or initiate the Hohmann's transfer sequence, so that you can actually fire the nuclear fusion propellant to the destination, like right here. But as it says, warning, the ship will be extremely vulnerable during the transfer process, meaning if you get hit, your ship is surely gonna blow up. So that's why you want to make sure you eliminate all the enemies before you initiate the Hohmann transfer sequence, because you're going to be exposing your reactor core and make yourself super vulnerable there. Anyway, it's been almost 20 minutes. I don't want to drag this out way too long. I'll see you back in the next video, and we're going to be talking about the remnant city that we're going to go. and how to actually get down to the Martian surface. So we'll see you next video. I'm going to basically show you where we are at the Remnant City development, and also the Martian's planetary mission, which is pretty much plays like a Fallout 4 game on the surface or on the planetary mission. Anyway, it's been 20 minutes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Thanks.